But I swear, I pressed record. I swear I saw the numbers showing that a recording was being made. But this is an opportunity to say things better. There's a few predominant religions, right? There's like 5, I guess. You think off the top of your head. People argue, perhaps, that the oldest religion is the truest religion. So, I can't quite remember where Hindus fit. I don't know if they're as old as Jews or not. For some reason, I think Judaism is older. But then there's the Sumerians. I don't know if they're the oldest. Maybe Babylonians are older. I don't know. Anyway, there's a culture that people say, come on, buddy. There's a culture in the Danube region of Germany. It's called Danubian culture, Vinca culture. Artifacts date it to between 6,000 and 5,000 BC. Could be 8,000 years old. Now, there's 5 requirements for a civilization based on academia. Where does this academia come from? These predominant religions. What do these followers of those predominant religions have? Those 5 requirements. So there's been artifacts found of the Vinca culture which are said to be crude. Now let's say it's a 7,000-year-old culture. Maybe, could we posit that all the fine, delicate, complex, beautiful art, materials have been destroyed through time? Freezing and thawing changes. It's like a valley with water and ice and water. Maybe it got washed out. Maybe it's not there anymore. So there's also what people consider not a script. They say it's not a language. They say it's images based off the artifacts they've found. Now, I believe that the Vinca culture has been obscured. I wonder if it's for... What are you doing, bud? I wonder if it is for certain religions to state superiority in a way, or that other cultures are pagans, barbarians, savages, uncivilized, pre-civilized, needing saving. So Hindus genocided indigenous cultures. Christians genocided indigenous cultures. Certainly Muslims and Jews did too. The pagans. Are pagans indigenous? What's indigenous anyway? It's supposed to be like a better word. So let's say it's a better word. Doesn't it represent an idea that people come from pre-civilization? So the Vinca culture, we don't know what they lived in. So they didn't have architecture. They didn't have that part of the civilization. They were said not to have writing. Said not to have a government. But isn't that what people said about the First Nations people? Isn't that what was said about the pagans in Europe? Countless tribes. And are they tribes? Or should I say countless cultures? Countless countries. Are they countries? They have a definable border. Currently, there's cultures within countries, and people call it colonization, but it's all around the world, and it has been around the world. But there's cultures with their own borders. Where does the border go? Because it's not drawn on a map, it doesn't exist. So these cultures, said to be tribes people, indigenous, people believe they're without civilization. Maybe they don't write things down, so people don't consider them, have never considered them to have a language. And what do these religions get from that? I've been thinking about God. Is it God? Is it gods? What if there's tons of gods? Then are these gods arguing amongst themselves about what should and shouldn't be? Do they coexist? Are they competing? Are they waging war against each other? Is there really a devil? Bad? Evil? Because devil is like God. Spirits, whatever, I don't know how to describe it without saying demon. I hypothesize that in the Hindu religion, there's demons, but they're gods. They're not people. And are they responsible for what's wrong with the world? Where a monotheistic religion says that God is omnipotent, omnipresent, everywhere, knows everything all the time, and people ask, why do bad things happen then? I don't know about either. I thought more about a monotheistic God. People don't value free will. If we could only do what was right in the world, we wouldn't have free will. We wouldn't have knowledge. And I know the Christianity story. I was raised Christian. I'm not now. They only knew good until Eve ate, and then they were given knowledge. And knowledge of evil is somehow wrong? Knowledge? It's not even knowledge of evil. Knowledge is evil? And then, what does the critic say? If God knows everything, why did He create humans that could disobey? Why did He create the form of Lucifer or whatever the snake is meant to be? Why was that created? Well, say there is a omnipotent God. Don't you think it would know how valuable free will is? Remember, laws restrict our free will. Laws are said to uphold justice. Uphold our free will? Regulations, so people aren't exploitive? And a regulation in a society where people already have more than others could ever get? Isn't that already equal? Maybe it equals a natural order? Or has it been something religions have done? Royalty is religion. All these nations and their leaders, which are essentially kings, are associated with God, and that's continued into what we have today. I think about Christianity a lot because that's what I was raised in. That's what's predominant. That's what some of my family really believes. But I think of it this way. Christianity started in West Asia. People try to say it's an African religion. It didn't start in Africa. Jerusalem, Bethlehem, it's Levant, and that area of the Levant is West Asia. And people go, what? Because Asia, they automatically stereotype to a Chinese person. You know, India is in Africa and Asia. Some Indians are African, some Indians are Asian. But people think Indian like its own continent. They think of the Middle East like a continent. Many Middle Eastern people, maybe even most of them, are Asian. It's not a Middle Eastern religion. The Middle East didn't exist. The Middle East was a term coined maybe 1940 by a British naval officer. And Christianity, it's not even about how old it is, didn't start where I'm from. And maybe people could argue, I migrated. What if it's all of Europe? They say we all came from Africa. By the time any of this was true. Because then people want to say we all came from Africa, we're all African. We're not. That's another topic. We didn't all come from one black mother. There's sequencing that says the likelihood of evolution came from a single sequence. Because that's the information they have. They can't get enough archaeological evidence to sequence different genomes. Those are the genomes they have. And it's a theory based off of what they consider mutations, based off how they've sequenced similarity. I have to learn more about it. So if I'm European, am I a polytheist? The pagans were polytheistic. Even Rome was pagan. So pagans had civilizations. But they say pagans are myths. Greek and Roman myth, not Greek and Roman religion. But it's not from where I'm from. Anything before it is still not from Europe. So I don't believe in a religion that came from somewhere else. I guess some people would call that a bad thing. Oh, from other place, that's bad. But it's not what I would have believed in. I don't accept that Christianity saved pagans. I don't think Christianity liberates anyone. I don't believe Jesus was resurrected. I don't believe in the miracles. Miracles are myths. Or all myths are miracles. So, the interpretation we have of Norse stories, they come from exchange. They come from oppression. Oh, this happened in 1100. Really? Was that anything like 200 BC? Was that anything like 280? What was their calendar? People say savage, savage, savage. Oh, Thor was always angry. Read the stories. Thor wasn't angry. Unless, Superman's angry, because Superman is fighting bad people. So what? Superman gets angry and fights a bad thing? A wrongdoer? Evil? Because that's what Thor does. Thor doesn't just get mad. Thor uses force, so he's getting mad. So when Superman uses his laser eyes, is he mad? And I've done some research. Christian monks manipulated certain pagans by saying the leaders they converted were related to Jesus, to Abraham. They said that Odin was related to Abraham. Deception is one method of conversion. Another is threat of death, genocide for anyone that doesn't get baptized. A lot of people would get baptized so they don't die. Is that weakness? I don't know. The religion kept being practiced, but in what form? And all these people that say they're pagans nowadays. I'm practicing what people made up. That's what. How do you know any of that? Well, that's what's written by a Christian. And that was written by a Christian monk. Codex Regius. Is that the oldest piece of the oldest text? Written by a monk. What were monks doing? Converting. What did the monk do? Write a book, similar enough, and people believe that. What did Snorri Sturluson do? Write a book, people could believe. I'll never be able to practice my ancestors' religion. And that was supposed to sound dumb, my ancestors. But that's what they are. So what does God mean? And am I polytheistic? Were my ancestors polytheistic? It seems that way. And is there death? People try saying Vikings believed in reincarnation. No, I don't believe that. I have to look more into it, but I don't believe that. There's all these people making stuff up based off of what someone else made up, based off of what someone else made up. I want to know God or gods. And that's acting with free will. How many times do you have to learn a lesson? How many times do you want to repeat a lesson? Is it a mistake? It's a mistake if you don't know. But you're repeating a lesson when you already know the consequence and you fall into it anyway. You know you can't jump further than 3 feet, but you try to jump 3 foot too. How many times? You gotta fall in the water and climb out. What if something else climbed into that hole? What if everything changes, right? So what if? Are these three religions going to be a catalyst in another worldwide war? While Muslims have Al-Aqsa on the Temple Mount, where the Jewish temple was, and the records state they had no idea that's where the third temple was. I don't believe that. They knew Jews the whole time. They didn't know that was where the Jerusalem second temple was. They didn't know that was a Jewish holy site. I don't believe that. And now Christians want Jews to have that third temple because that's when the Messiah comes back. They want revelation. They want the world to end. I don't. Why? So they can be with God sooner? Aren't they going to reach eternal salvation? What's wrong with life? And Muslims are holding summits, and essentially it's a holy war. They'll start a war if Jerusalem continues to mount pressure on Al-Aqsa. Muslims say Jews are digging underneath the temple, their mosque, so that it collapses. They're saying these things to attack Jews. Jews are now praying there. Jews are moving towards what they believe is theirs. So what's older? Is it what's older? People try to say the Palestinians. Well, even if these Palestinians were there, they weren't Muslim. Because whatever, they say like 4,000, however many years ago, Islam didn't exist. So, if it's what's older, then the temple exists there. But the Muslims built a mosque there and made it central to their religion. So they want to start a war in the Middle East, say the Jews started the war if they continue to attempt to build their temple. And these prophecies, do they determine everything for everyone else? And these religions believe everyone else is lost, needs saving, is confused? Christians support the Jews. Not all, I guess all of them, but I don't know. Is it just atheists and agnostics, etc., that support Palestinians? That support Muslims? That disregard the Jews? I don't want to make sweeping generalizations. So what role do the Christians have? America supports Israel. Israel pressures. I'm trying to remember what the old continues toward the old city of Jerusalem. I forget what it's a part of. I don't think it's. I'm not sure if it's Israeli territory or not. And then Muslims attack. Then there's a large-scale war in the Middle East. Then China simply bides their time till the U.S. is overextended, out of ammunition, can't protect Taiwan. China attacks Taiwan. I think this is what AI said. Sorry, I don't know. But then these are like predictions. Is it prophecy? But not really. So then China starts a war without religion. See, it's only called a holy war between Islam and Judaism because religion's involved. The UN's not involved, is kind of what the AI was saying. It's not, it doesn't have the same mainframe or constraints or rules even. So Jews and Muslims, they fight each other. Then China fights. Then we're in a world war. And is that because of Abraham and his descendants? And their God allows free will. So that's what we're into. And that's why people say God is so bad. What's wrong with free will? I think I skipped over it. But the laws are made by men. Now they're made by women too. Anyway, my point is, when someone does something wrong, laws protect them. They put them in jail. A person is arrested if they act in revenge, or if they try to get their own justice. Are the punishments correct? Child molesters aren't put to death, but weed dealers went to jail for 25 years. Maybe that's extreme, I don't know. But fentanyl dealers, they should go to jail for life. And people shouldn't use or abuse things. But that's for each individual to find out for themselves. Productive member of society. What are the roles of a productive member of society? Are these cultures within countries considered tribes not part of society? They're productive. Now, people in society, are they stealing? There's lots of drug addicts that work jobs. And I don't like addicts. There's lots of people that abuse drugs that have jobs. And one day they won't, but they are a part of society. And everyone's a part of society. These homeless people, it's unfortunate. But God's not going to protect them. Or maybe God will. Or God's. Is it what you believe? And can you believe anything? And if you believe something others don't, you're considered delusional? What if you're strong-willed? What if you're smart? What if you've shaped your belief system? Even, I don't know that I would have believed what the pagans believed back then. That was their right and wrong. Does that mean I believe it? Does that mean they were right? Even the Vinca, are they correct? Whatever, I'm sure they had gods. Their belief, was that right? Is Sumerian right? Who's right? Is anyone right? Are we all right? We just have to get along. Scientists say there is no God because you can't prove there is a God, basically. Or scientific fundamentalists or scientismists, whatever. These people that believe science will find all the answers. Practicing scientists say it's not scientific. So if you believe that energy created the universe, why don't you ask yourself where energy came from? and you're immediately going to say the Big Bang. Now there's something before the Big Bang, the inflation period, and there's probably something before that too. And maybe there's multiple universes, or parallel universes, or all these different forever expanding, retracting, the universe is retracting now, cycles. Well, if that's all because of energy, where did energy come from? Because we don't know how God created God? How did energy create energy? And I'm sure the theories are meant to support that. However, how does energy exist? If God is something from nothing, energy is something from nothing. That's the beginning point. I don't know that there will ever be an understanding of creation. People always wanted to understand. I don't know that there is an answer. It's a paradox. If something began when there was nothing, what began something? I don't know if I said that right. I saw something. It's like, what are the percent possibility of you getting the correct answer? A, 25, B, 0, C, 25, D, 50. And apparently it's a self-referencing paradox. Is that what God is? Anyway, imagine for yourself. Think, theorize, hypothesize, guess, believe.